Do you remember where you were in 2008? Where was a young Julian Martinez?
2008. I was in high school, actually on the verge of freshman year of high school. So yeah.
So that's the last time UT was ranked #1 in the nation. So this is big stuff. And, you know, forever we've like, I guess, framed any of our UT conversations with, it's been a long time in the wilderness. Well, that time is up. Here they are on top of college football. And I think it's warranted. I didn't get to watch that Georgia-Kentucky game closely. We were obviously keeping our eyes on the Horns. But, yeah, Georgia's not quite looking. I thought they would look the part of a team that hasn't lost much at all in the last 3 years. Again, they could very well be a 3-time reigning champ if things just hadn't gone a little off last season. Yet they just didn't look like that team.
Yeah.
So now I think Longhorn fans are starting to have hope, like, wait a minute. We're talented, we're deep, we're fast, we're physical, we've got a great culture. We've got to be continued on a third-year starting quarterback. That's probably the next topic. But exactly. So things are looking good in Longhorn land. I'm usually the guy that says back away from the burnt orange Kool-Aid, but I might be getting my bib on and my cup ready.
Playing devil's advocate when it comes to Georgia, obviously an ugly game. Their offense just couldn't get anything going.
Yeah.
But Kentucky, and this is what we've talked about before when we talked about the Horns in their first season in the SEC, there's just random potholes as you go through a SEC schedule. And Kentucky, who's been sneaky competitive over the last few years, have a Stoops coaching them. You know, every now and then they'll get you, and they'll make it uncomfortable for you. And in fact, I even when I'm looking at Texas's schedule, I'm looking at the Kentucky game, and I'm like, all right, don't make it interesting. That's my biggest thing. Don't make it interesting. But you know, yes, we got to talk about the big news of the week, right? Is Arch comes in that game, throws 5 touchdowns, and then my first text, of course, to you is, do we have a Wally Pipp situation? Which, to you as a sports fan, obviously you know the Wally Pipp story well. You know what that is. To anyone that's unaware, former Yankees first baseman gets injured during a season, and the guy who comes in after him, a guy named Lou Gehrig, who never gives up the starting job again.
For 2,000 whatever straight games.
Because Lou Gehrig was pretty good at baseball. Arch Manning's pretty good at football, and that's kind of a problem when it comes to QB battles. Now, obviously, we spent all offseason talking it's not a QB battle, it's not a QB battle. It's not a QB battle till it is. And when a guy comes in and throws 5 touchdowns, that's a little bit of a nerve-wracking situation for Quinn. I don't know about you, but my abdomen would start feeling a lot better in a hurry.
So it's so funny. It depends on who you ask. Like, old heads like me is like, there's absolutely no quarterback controversy. There's just not. Quinn's a third-year starter who has soaked up the system that is just on the exact same page with Sark when it comes. I mean, they've been cooking. They were cooking in Ann Arbor as far as what he can open up for Sark. It's a different level. Now, that said, Arch Manning's talent is undeniable, right? He is a talented young man. He's in the perfect spot because we knew going into the season he was going to play, whether it was just in some of these these tune-up games that were on the schedule, or surprise, surprise, if and when Quinn got hurt. We've seen this 2 years in a row before this. This is round 3. So this is no big surprise. It happens. It's a physical game. And here we are. Now, how long is Quinn out? We'll see. You know, a strained oblique, it can vary. Sark, just today, we're taping on Monday. Sark seems to think that he said if this was, you know, the pro game, which the college pretty much is starting real soon, he'd be termed questionable. You know, so that is a week-to-week kind of deal. It's not going to be a long time. It's going to be as long as they want. It actually, I think, manufactures and makes it very easy for Sark, because you can't bench a Heisman frontrunner, which Quinn was going into last week, so Arch and then Trey Owens can get more playing time against the UTSAs and ULMs of the world. This, if you're an optimist and if you're trying to find the silver lining in your QB1 going down, it's that Arch and Trey Owens are going to get much more practice reps, game week reps, meaningful reps, and then obviously game day reps that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. It actually sets up pretty well as long as Quinn recovers.
I mean, that's the struggle of being in college, right? That there's not enough opportunity to get live bullets thrown
Right.
your way,
Yeah.
even if it is just a ULM. And you're right, like this is the perfect time. Like people look at the schedule-wise, there is ever going to be a time to get those practice reps in, get some rest for Quinn. Like you never want to see him injured. We'd prefer obviously he'd play all the games this season.
Without a doubt.
However, this is the time, especially, but now if you're Sark, you have to ask the question is, okay, how long do I milk this injury, right? Like how long do I let it linger? Because coming up, you got ULM, you got Mississippi State, and then you got a bye week.
Right.
Does the next time we see Quinn, if you're a betting man, is it going to be Red River?
For some reason, I think he comes back for the
Just like a tune-up
for
type
the
deal?
SEC opener against Mississippi State, and it's Mississippi State. They're just not much. They're one of the weakest SEC squads. Texas got fortunate the way the schedule broke down, and it's even more so because of what's happening right now. To where if you weren't 100% confident in Quinn being totally right, I think you do have the ability to sit him because you're at home against a weak Mississippi. I think Arch showed you he's more than capable of. And the something that gets lost even on the Arch Manning crowd. Everyone is infatuated, A, with his last name and B, with his talent, and probably got that in the wrong order. But his work ethic, it's the stuff we don't see.
Well, that's the reason he's back at Texas as opposed to being insert Georgia, wherever.
He's a worker. He's grounded. He's got the right mindset to be in that quarterback room. To have this dynamic playing out as well as it has so far is a testament to not only Arch, but also to Quinn, because he has embraced and kind of taken Arch under his wing, and they're really good buddies. And then for Sark, knowing how to manage this, because it's not for everybody, right? I mean, we see how many quarterbacks with Arch Manning's talent would have stuck around and waited and sat on the bench. Not many.
Yeah, if this was Shedeur, he's out there. Let's be real.
Because it's NFL free agency in college football now. Well, I don't have to stick around here.
Yeah. The ego management for Sark is absolutely grade A, top notch, being able to do that. But I do want to just speak on what Arch did, right?
Yeah.
Because Manning with Wills, what we were advertised as, and he gets 21 miles per hour is what I saw. I looked at I watched it over and over again just to look at it. Did it not feel like he was running in slow motion?
No.
Like I didn't believe it when I saw the 21 mile per hour stat. I felt like, how slow are these UTSA guys right now?
Well, he is what, 6'4", 6'5", so maybe there's an illusion there when you see a guy that big moving like that.
Well, it reminds me of his uncle's highlight where he faked everyone out on that like QB end around type thing. Like where no one saw it coming in. It's like the slowest developing play there is.
Yeah.
But somehow, some way, again, it's a 60-yard touchdown.
What I loved for Arch is that Sark, we hear a lot. We don't get to shoot a lot of practice time, and or scrimmages for that matter. And I remember Sark one time came in pretty beaming, and he mentioned that he had eclipsed 20 miles an hour on a big run. And
he's got the wiggle, that little juke move he's doing too.
Just set him up, but.
Taking ankles out there.
It's one thing to hear that in a press conference. It's another thing to see it, and it's like. There it is. He's got his, whether it's his dad, because Cooper, that's, a lot of people don't, I think a lot of casual fans still aren't even sure. It's like, oh, wait, he's the son of which? Of Eli or Peyton? It's like, no, of Cooper. And then they're like, Cooper, that crazy funny guy. It's like, before he was a crazy funny guy, he was apparently maybe the best athlete in that family.
It's come as the stuff of myth, the stuff of legend, that he was secretly the best Manning brother out of the bunch, right?
Man.
But too, another thing besides the movement, the running skills, the deep ball accuracy being there. Like he's been money ever since the spring, right? Because that was a big thing. Like coming out of the spring game was his deep ball accuracy. Ryan Wingo just running wide open. And what is more impressive about that throw, beyond the throw itself, is that he had pressure in his face and still was able to unload that ball and. On the money. Like
Sark mentioned that.
That's something too.
And those are the things that get Sark's, that pique his interest, as this quarterback whisperer and developer of talent. Yeah, he was quick to point that out. That it was like, receiver's open, but he's not under duress, but he's standing tall in the pocket and taking a pretty big hit. Then he also was quick to mention, like, he made the right choices. He let that offense come to him. The time he pulled it down and ran with it, those were the two right decisions, and obviously one led to 67-yard highlight reel touchdown runs.
Yeah, even that Jonte Cook one too, just like right in the bucket.
Yeah, man.
And just absolutely just dime.
I wonder how many teams would he be starting for right now? And the list is extremely long. I mean, who would he not? Maybe we should go that way. And yeah.
Can I just say also Jeff Traylor really fumbled the bag too? I mean, UTSA, like.
Well, it's a down year. You could tell from his, but when they were going into this game, when he was asked about them being wounded, and man, he was just down. It's just sometimes programs cycle. This is not the what was it? Frank Harris led Roadrunners.
You should have bought the highs.
Yeah,
right there.
No doubt. For the day ones, the diehards, the first timers, the old timers. For all the rivalry matches, buzzer beaters, and come from behind miracles. It's not just stats and wins and losses. It's the moments, the shots you can't believe went in, the times you can't do anything but believe. And it's all streaming right here on your connected TV anytime on Fox Local.
The Sports Office, streaming anytime on Fox Local.